After Manchester City winning 2-1 at Nottingham Forest in Saturday's early kickoff, five more 3 p.m. UK time matches in the Premier League. To look over them, especially Arsenal's win and Liverpool's win, Mark Donaldson, alongside Janusz, Michallik. And both Arsenal and Liverpool, very similar, Janusz, 2-0 up. You're thinking, okay, how many can Arsenal score against Brighton? How many can Liverpool get against bottom of the table Wolves? And in some cases, they were both hanging on towards the end. Let's start with Arsenal. Overall, what was their performance like today?
I think it was okay. I mean, a win was needed with what Manchester City did just a couple hours before. I mean, this is the race, right? We're talking about Arsenal and Manchester City, a team that's won it numerous times and knows how to win, as I've mentioned when we chatted about the Manchester City game, against a team that's been close. But I think for the first time, when I think of Arsenal and their chances, before that, last couple of years, I didn't believe that Arsenal could win. Now I do, because everything is in place now to do it. That's the hard part, the experience of not having done so in the past. But today, look, that Brighton side is dangerous. I know they haven't won now in I think 5 Premier League or 5 games straight. I think in general. Can't remember if it was just in Premier League, but we all know that this team can possess the ball, can press, can win the ball. In the first half, I thought it was all Arsenal, obviously, 2-0, and I thought it was done and dusted. But as we expected, this is a good Brighton team that kept on asking questions, and even, that save by David Raya was tremendous. So look, this is how these games are going to be. Don't expect Arsenal or anybody else to walk through these games and be as wonderful as Arsenal has been so far this season, especially early on. So it's a big win. They had to answer, and they did.
They did, and they get all 3 points, and that's all that Mikel Arteta wants. He'd like a performance as well. He'd like it to be more comfortable. It got nervy in the second half after Brighton pulled one back. But this is a marathon, Janusz. This is 38 games. This is about getting 3 points, and if you get something else, then great. You need results like this, whether it's one goal or whatever it is. You might not be at your best. You might have players withdrawing in the warm-up. You might have tweaks to your team with no Yuri and Timber, but you're getting the job done. That shows more of a maturity that you require to win a Premier League title.
Well, yeah, and it shows what Arsenal were missing in those a couple of years where I didn't believe is depth of squad, right? I mean, this is a formidable side, as you mentioned, rightfully so. Calafiori, falls out. Timber, I think it was a load management. I'm not sure exactly why he wasn't there. And, Declan Rice fills in. Did they miss him in the center of the pitch? Absolutely. We all know he's there. But, speaking of formidable side, that bench, I mean, look at it. I have to, Eze, Madueke, who didn't even feature, right? Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, Nwaneri. I mean, they have the players. The players needed to adjust very, very quickly in case of Lewis Skelly early on, and they did that. So, look, I mean, obviously not everybody is at the moment performing at their peak, and I think you're going to see that not just with Arsenal, but with everybody, right? We can probably break that down. Some of the players were great early on. Now, obviously, sometimes you lose form, but overall, I think even towards the end there, we talked about that chance that David Raya saved. I believe it was on Minter, but Martinelli, who's been good coming back, had a if not sitter, a great chance as well. Gabriel Jesus. So I mean, they continue to push. Arsenal continue to play their brand of football. They know they are an attacking side. And, some things are falling into place. Gabriel coming in, that duo in the center of defense is back. So a lot of positives. Not a perfect game from Arsenal, but good 3 points.
Huge 3 points and just what they needed. Now, the opening goal was Martin Odegaard's first at home since February. I don't know if he would have been in that position to get on the end of Saka's assist had Declan Rice been playing in a similar role. But Rice was at right back, and Odegaard took the opportunity and took it well to maybe just push forward a little bit, because you've got Marino and you've got Zubimendi to protect. That's the Martin Odegaard that we remember, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's going to be important that he's going to be at his best. He's coming back, as we know. He's had an injury. I think as a not just as a captain, but up until the injury, he was so good for them. And Mikel Arteta is going to give him every opportunity to be in that starting lineup, right? I mean, I think he will be there. Marino is the one that's probably not. Although who knows? He should probably be at forward, because that's where he's thriving right now, and that's where they may need him, by the way, by the looks of Gyökeres. So look, Odegaard is such an important player in that process that Mikel Arteta has talked about over the last 5 years, whatever it was. He's been so important. I think this is an important goal for him. I think he's going to thrive, and we're going to see more of that coming in.
Second goal from a set piece, and it was the 17th goal Arsenal have scored from set plays this season. And weirdly enough, each of its last 3 goals off set pieces have resulted in own goals. It's just, I don't know what they do or how they do it, but those deliveries cause chaos. And this time, putting through his own net was Rutter.
That's the bottom line. Perfect delivery from Declan Rice, and that's key. We talk about attacking the ball, winning individual battles, and in front of the goal, right? I mean, that's all important, but the most important part of it all is the delivery. I mean, how many times do we see players on some of the greatest teams ever, some great players, not unable to clear the first defender, right? In terms of delivery. So, I mean, when you look at Declan Rice, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to ask me when was the last time that he didn't deliver a good ball, which is unusual, right? Because usually we see this all the time. So this was tremendous, and to me, it's no surprise. It's no surprise to anybody else, and it's a skill, right? Everybody's talking about Arsenal and set pieces and all of that. If you know how to do it, do it. Arsenal obviously score goals in different ways. They're a great team. One, they may ultimately win all that, but I'm no longer surprised. I don't downplay it in any way, because it's not so easy to do it the way Arsenal does it.
So 2-0 up Arsenal, 64th minute, Diego Gomez pulls one back for Brighton, and an atmosphere that was very jovial, very festive, very 2-0 up, happy days, suddenly became a little bit nervous. How nervous was it, though, after Gomez got that goal back for Brighton, Janusz?
Well, it always gets nervous, right? Because it's Brighton, and that's what we forget. I mean, they had such a poor first half, right? They didn't look great watching that game at home last time against Sunderland as well. But for the first time, Minte didn't start, I believe, for the first time all season. He's been good. When he came in with Wiefer on that right-hand side, the game has changed a little bit. They were unfortunate because Karu Mitoma, who came back after a pretty long injury the last couple of games. I think he was ill ahead of this game, because obviously on that left-hand side, he can do what Minte does on the right-hand side, but there's a lot of quality in that side. If you look at Brighton statistically, they're up there in just about every one of them, especially in terms of attack. So I wasn't surprised that Brighton were going to ask questions, because that's what they do. Just the fact that they've had such a bad December doesn't change the fact that they're capable of that. So once you get that goal, of course, you're going to get a little bit nervous, and Arsenal did. But again, they had an answer towards the end as well, even though they didn't score.
When you look at all the teams that have won the titles over the years, yeah, they've got goal scorers in there. And I want to talk a little bit in a second about Gyökeres and then Gabriel Jesus coming on, whether or not between those two, that's enough from a forwards perspective. But before that, one of the other things that title-winning teams have all had is a decent goalkeeper. And David Raya's save from Minte is worth 2 points, because that has earned them the victory. How important is he? He's seen off Ramsdale. He's seen off Kepa. Is he the right man at the right time for Arsenal?
He's been unbelievable. He's arguably the best. I mean, it's like we don't fancy talking about them. We still, we talk about Alisson and everybody else. We'll probably still talk about Ederson, who's no longer at Manchester City, before we talk about the goalkeepers like David Raya and Robert Sanchez at Chelsea comes to mind as well, right? I mean, because there's such dominance. When you talk, not even now Donnarumma, you're talking about Alisson and Ederson, but David Raya has done more than he almost needs to do it. I mean, he's been absolutely spot on, and he's been such a strong part of this Arsenal defense, just as strong as anybody I see on that pitch. We all know that the back four of Arsenal, whoever's there is very good. And when we talk about teams defensively, we often forget to talk about the goalkeepers. We talk about the back three, back four, the partnerships between center backs, but he's been tremendous, and that's a world-class save on Minter, wasn't it?
So let's talk about the strikers. I don't know how often you and I have spoken in the past before Arsenal signed Gyökeres. Arsenal need to get a striker. Arsenal have to sign a striker. If they sign a striker, they've got a much better chance of winning the league. They signed Gyökeres. Again, he was quiet. Gabriel Jesus, coming back from injury, came on. Have they signed the right striker?
Not so far. Huge disappointment for me. It's almost as Mikel Arteta is trying to give him every opportunity to justify the price that he's paid for him in spite of himself, right? Because, it's amazing. I watched him, when he was playing for Sporting, but mostly in highlights. This season, I'm watching a lot of Portuguese league. Don't ask me why, but I have a reason to watch some other players.
You're still married?
And yeah, no, but you know what? It is such a poor league. I understand now why he had so much space, so much time.
Janusz, he was playing with Coventry before that.
But I mean, forget that part. That they didn't pay for Gyökeres for Coventry, right? And they paid him for what he did at Sporting Lisbon. And you look at him, and all of a sudden, I thought he was faster than he is. I thought that he was stronger than he is. He is very limited, and that's about it. You know who he reminds me of? Rasmus Højlund. Same issues. They work hard enough. You can't take that away from them. But it just goes to show that in those other leagues, it's easier. Yes, and even for Højlund now at Napoli and Serie A, it was easier for him before he came to Manchester United and after. And same with Gyökeres. And I don't know if that changes. It does not mean that he won't contribute. He's contributing, a goal here and there, penalty here and there. But I just think that, for a team like Arsenal, I mean, we see what Mikel Merino does. I think when Kai Havertz comes back, he's going to be once again getting games in that position. And Gabriel Jesus, if he gets back to form and he continues to get chances, I think he's going to be there. But in terms of Gyökeres, I mean, even today, he just looks slow. This league is so demanding. You don't have time to think. You don't have time to turn. And unfortunately, unlike Portugal, he's not going to have room to run behind as he did, because just about everyone plays low block against Arsenal. So, look, very, very disappointing. And I don't know if that's changing much.